Okay, so what if the way we think we're helping our kids succeed is actually the very thing holding them back? Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful idea that challenges a lot of modern parenting and offers a totally different path to raising kids who are truly successful and self-sufficient. Let's just jump right in with a pretty bold claim. What if some of the most common, well-intentioned ways we parent are, as this quote puts it, messing up kids? The whole idea we're going to unpack here is that maybe, just maybe, being too involved is doing way more harm than good. Right, so we're not talking about neglect here. It's the total opposite extreme. We're talking about a kind of intense over-involvement, a style you might call over-parenting, and it's creating a whole new set of problems. So what does this actually look like? Well, think of it like this. It's basically becoming your kid's full-time project manager. You're trying to protect them from every little bump in the road, hovering over everything they do, and pretty much acting as their personal concierge, all in the name of steering them towards this super narrow, pre-approved idea of what success looks like. And all that intense management, it leads to something called a checklisted childhood. It's where life stops being about, discovery and adventure and starts being just a giant to-do list. So, what's on this checklist? Oh, you know the drill. It's not just get good grades. No. It's get the right grades in the right classes to get into the right schools. And every single thing they do, community service, starting a club, it's not for the experience. It's just another box to tick for that college application. So just stop and think about the message this sends to a kid. When all the focus is on their grades, their scores, their performance, they start to believe a really devastating idea, that their worth, their value as a person, is tied directly to their achievements. It's like our love starts to feel, conditional. And the result of all this, you get kids who are just completely and utterly exhausted. They're anxious, they're brittle, and they're burned out from this relentless pressure long before they even get a driver's license, let alone step foot on a college campus. Okay, so this pressure has a huge psychological cost. And we're not just talking about stress here. It's something way deeper. It's about how it fundamentally undermines a child's developing mind. This is the really devastating unspoken message behind all that help. When we're constantly hovering and directing, what a kid hears is, "Hey kid, I don't actually think you can pull this off without me." We're basically telling them, without saying a word, that we don't have faith in them. And what that does is it just chips away at something absolutely critical called self-efficacy. Now, what's that? It's this core belief that your own actions can lead to outcomes. It's that feeling that you can make things happen, not that things just happen to you or, because your parents made them happen for you. And this shows the difference perfectly. See, we think we're helping by showering them with praise to build their self-esteem, telling them you're so great, but that's fragile. Real, lasting confidence, that's self-efficacy, you can't give that to someone. It has to be built from the inside through trying and failing and figuring things out for themselves. Okay, so if the checklist is totally the wrong way to go, what's the right way? Well, the alternative is actually surprisingly simple. It's about building a foundation on two things: chores and love. So the whole point here is to shift our focus. The goal shouldn't be getting them into one of those few big-name colleges. The real goal should be helping them build the habits, the mindset, and the emotional strength to be successful and happy, literally wherever they go. And look, this isn't just some nice, fluffy idea. This is backed up by some serious data. We're talking about the Harvard Grant Study, one of the longest studies of human lives ever conducted. They followed people for more than 75 years just to figure out what really, truly leads to a happy and successful life. So, after all that time, after tracking all those lives for decades, what did this massive study find? You're not going to believe it. It all boiled down to two simple things. Not SAT scores, not fancy awards, but chores and love. Yeah, you heard that right. Let's talk about chores first. The study found that kids who did chores actually ended up being more successful in their careers. Why? Well, it's because it teaches them something so fundamental, that life involves work that isn't always fun, that someone has to do it, and that they can be the person who pitches in for the good of the whole. It builds that roll-up-your-sleeves mindset. And the second pillar? It's love. The study found that real happiness in life comes from loving other people. And here's the key. For our kids to be able to love others, they first have to feel worthy of love themselves. And that feeling, that comes from our unconditional love for them. A love that says, I love you because you're you. not because of what's on your report card. All right, there's a final metaphor that just brings this whole idea home perfectly. It's the difference between a bonsai tree and a wildflower. And this comparison really lays out the two different ways to think about parenting. Are we treating our kids like these delicate bonsai trees, where our job is to constantly clip and prune and shape them into what we think is perfect? Or do we see them as wildflowers, where our job is just to provide good soil, some water and sun, a nourishing environment, and then step back and watch them grow into their own unique, amazing selves? And that's really the big question to chew on, isn't it? What if our job isn't to make them become what we want, but to support them in becoming their glorious selves? When you think about it like that, it shifts the entire goal of parenting. It moves away from control and perfection and towards support and unconditional love. And according to a whole lot of research, that is the real secret to a successful and happy life.